and then take a step back, leave, and then how does the fourth person sit at the table? Let's give a perfect example of this. Before we look through Autotrader, I was close to quitting YouTube this week. Genuinely, honestly, I really was. I really did think that. It seems like I'm fighting a losing battle. It's a growing problem. But I know that I'm not the only one that's frustrated by this, as I've had quite a few conversations only this week about the subject. I am here trying to help, trying to improve things for you and make it a better, safer, much clearer and honest industry. So much thought and effort goes into making these videos. That big project is going to be so complex, really costly to actually complete it. It's going to involve a lot of travel, with me taking several days holiday from my actual job, as I'm not being paid to do this, only just relying on the views. Then is it really worth that effort? If every video just costs me time and money, what's going to be the point? You know, I woke up after the big project announcement video last Monday, and the video only had 800 views, and it just completely demoralized me, because I really did think that that series would help lots and lots of people, and the video just didn't do well at all. But then I received an email from a subscriber which made me realize I can't give up. I must keep going. After all, I love making these videos and speaking to lots of great people. I will read the email out to you now. Hi, love the videos and your new series looks good. I'm a RevEd too. RevEds are people who go onto the Facebook Live when RevComps are actually doing the prize draws. So you should include Coombe Valley Campers in your videos too. He would be good for you to talk to. Funny enough, he's actually on my list to talk about a certain segment of it. I have emailed as there is a van on Facebook, and then he names the Facebook site, the minute, which shows exactly what you are always talking about. It's a polished turd. Very basic, but I looked at the website and the prices are very high. Don't know if you have ever seen them. They are, and I'm not going to name the company, just thought I would let you know because it's exactly what you say. Keep up the good work. Now, firstly, I must thank you for your email, because this did slightly restore my faith in actually continuing doing this. It restored my belief that I am actually helping people. And I found the post, which I presume he was actually talking about, and I could see what he meant. And this further highlights the problem. The van did look lovely from the outside. The inside was somewhat another story. But there is huge confusing variance in campervan quality, even around the same price. We should be taking great pleasure in seeing other people's new purchases of vans, and part of the problem is exactly that, because many people do. But when they shouldn't be. You should be telling Brian that he should be sending the new campervan back, because it's rubbish, cheap, basic, and he paid far too much for it. But you won't, for two reasons. One, you may not actually know, and secondly, you'd really hurt his feelings, and you wouldn't really want to do that. And that's why we need to know what to look for before we buy a camper, so the mistakes can be avoided. The industry really boomed in 2020 with new companies coming into the market, and this wasn't all bad. Some good companies absolutely flourished when those staycation breaks became even more popular. Staycation, it's a good name for a YouTube channel, that, isn't it? And they became more popular to a wider market than before. New people came into the market who had never ever bought a camper. I've shown some horror vans on this channel before, but they don't need to be dangerous to become a problem for the buyer. If someone pays too much, they could have a big shock when they come to sell, when they find out they actually bought a poor spec van for far too much money. As I've talked about in a video a few weeks ago, there is a garage, let's just say 100-mile radius from where we are now, and they have camper vans that are priced at slightly inflated prices. But why? And why do they keep doing it? Well, I'm told that the prices are so high because that's what people will pay. Now, if that was a financial services product, the regulatory body wouldn't be too impressed with it. But as it isn't, it's up to buyers themselves to ensure that they make the good choices, make choices that are right for them. Now, we won't agree with each other's choices, but if they are informed choices and buyers know exactly what they're buying, then absolutely great. Let's give a perfect example of this before we look through Autotrader at loads of examples highlighting exactly the wide variance which we have. Like in this case, I'm not going to show you the polished Turd, but I will show you an actually cheaper, better campervan. This van here is an NCC approved M1 motorhome registered campervan. And in my new series, we're going to be finding out exactly what that means and why the companies who pay to jump through all the hoops which they have to actually do what they do. The other van is a panel van conversion and it is still registered as a van. Actually, this one is delivered as a combi, hence there are some subtle differences which we won't talk about today. But this is a van which is for sale at Tamar Caravan Centre, so I'm sure that they will actually explain the differences to you if you are interested in buying it. Anyway, both these vans do have exterior styling. They've got the sidebars, the front splitter, and also got the upgraded alloy wheels as well. Now this one has got premium tyres, whereas the other one does not. It's also got LED headlight upgrade, and for those that don't know, they're not aware that the standard lights do kind of really need upgrading. They're not kind of the best headlights which you can buy on a new van. So actually having these LED lights does make a massive difference. Let's go and have a look inside. Now, kitchen units can be a big personal preference, and do watch this space on this because I've got an idea for the project video, for the project van, which might make them a little bit more appealing. Anyway, this campervan manufacturer, Bespoke Leisure, has correctly followed the installation instructions of the hub and that they've ensured that the relevant regulation will be met. The minimum height from the actual burner to something above for most gas hobs is 50 centimetres, 500 millimetres, half a metre. So why do we have some units which are down here? Yeah, that's something which shouldn't be there. Do check the installation instructions for your hob and find out what that correct height should be. But again, that's a story which we'll pick up in the project van video. Now, this van has got twin captains that have been leather upholstered and both of them swivel. They've both actually got armrests as well. This isn't a Ford Transit. Make sure both front seats can swivel, especially if it has twin captains. Some conversions now use a double passenger seat and the driver's seat won't swivel, and I can understand that. But sometimes when there's twin captains and only the passenger seat swivels, that's not really practical for four. How does the fourth person sit at the table? Anyway, back over to the seat bed. Now, this is a rib, and as such, as a separate sleeping surface than the surface used for travel, the rib has contoured seats for travelling comfort. It's of course been crash tested in chassis, where a lot of other beds have only been tested on a metal bench, which as I've demonstrated before with that child seat. Yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about there, do have a look at that video and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Now, think about a bed on rails too, because there are some pros and some cons of these, and I personally do rather like the idea, but not when the rails are actually raised. I was talking to somebody at the NEC show, I think it was the year before last, and he was looking for a new van with rails because he already had a van with rails, but they protruded, and his daughter tripped over and actually fell out of the van, injuring themselves. So do think about things kind of like that when you're looking at them. The California bed system on rails, they're flat to the floor. You've got the Moby frame system now, which is flat to the floor. You've got the Remo Variatech, flat to the floor. You know, there's no trip hazards with any of those. But that's where one of the cons does come in. So yeah, do look out for that video in whenever it comes out, and we shall explain more on that. The pop tops differ too, with all different brands, and this can be absolutely significant because there's lots to consider here, which we're going to discuss and do some comparison videos on a lot of the major brands. But a big factor to think about is the sleeping surface. And this one here in this van is a frolly bed, which is sprung. Far comfier than that plank of wood, which can come in some of the conversions. Sometimes it's known as a premium bed surface, but a lot of the manufacturers now are just including them as standard because it's just far better. Now, both these vans have heating systems, and this one has got the gas underslung tank, which does save a little bit of room inside, and the other one's got a diesel heater. Now, both of them do a good job, but when terms like top of the range are being flung around, and the controller for the diesel heater looks like this, then it isn't exactly top of the range, is it? Why would a true high-spec campervan use a cheap heater control? These new models from Bespoke Leisure, the new Transits, the new Transporter, or the new Transporter T7, as people keep calling it, have now got the colour LCD Savvy Vans panel, which controls the heater and hot water system, along with many other functions, the lights and things such as that, and that actually comes as standard now. Yeah, that's the standard hot water system, as standard on a lot of the modern vans now. And there's also other things as standard, things such as utilising the dead space inside of the van, utilising a locate table, the table which can be used inside the van and also outside the van. Now, round the back, with this being the rib bed, and you can see it's got the 4x back rack on the back of this, you've got plenty of space here. You can see how much space you've actually got, and that's so you can actually put your storage in there, your cases or your larger items, maybe your paddle boards, your bikes, or whatever you've actually got. But some systems don't allow for that because the beds actually come right to the end here. So that's just something to be thinking about. And oh yeah, this has got the tailgate, and in my new series we can get into that argument, which is best, the barn doors or the tailgate. You decide, you let me know what you think is the best. Anyway, this van is cheaper than the other van. Yeah, it's actually got far superior components. The Victron Electrics, the California factory swivels and vents, rib seats, trolley bed, LED lights, Highline spec van, heated seats, etc, etc. So in theory, this van and the other vans from Volkswagen qualified manufacturers should be much more expensive. But they aren't. And in the new series, we will find out exactly what sets apart each component, helping people make that right choice, an informed choice, because what's right for one person might not actually be right for another. We need to investigate the minefield of buying a van, making sure we aren't falling into the sales traps. During COVID, we had many new converters entering the market, and some of them were bringing really poor vans because everybody just thought at the time that they could build a camper van, but the vans are still around. So how can we tell? I was speaking to a trade buyer of camper vans last week, and actually, in fact, that's something which is actually happening more and more now. Some converters are actually retailing camper vans through other outlets. Sometimes the retailer actually even branding the camper vans as their own. I could give some examples, but I know that some of them are actually quite uptight about that because they want the customers to think that it's their own product, when in fact it's actually somebody else who's manufactured them. Anyway, as a buyer for retail, he was essentially confirming what I've been saying for a long time, only that it's getting worse. For example, if he was looking for a camper van for 40 grand, he could be faced with a huge variance. That can be really, really difficult to navigate, especially for a new potential camper van owner buying their first camper van. Look at Autotrader, for example. Have a look at transporters between £40,000 and £45,000. Now, at this point, I'm actually going to overlay some examples as I talk, but it's important to understand here that I'm demonstrating a pattern of variety. I'm not criticising any of these vans at all. We all have different preferences, and we're all happy to pay different prices for different things. It's purely showing the variation. So you're going to actually see here that there's a wide variety of models. You will see T6s, T6.1s. There are start lines and high lines. There are diesels of different power outputs and manual or DSG. There are barn doors, tailgates. There is standard upholstery, vinyl upholstered seats, seat covers, and also genuine leather seats. Kitchen units and work surfaces are also mixed with some beautiful units, but also some of the mass-produced stuff as well. There's rib beds, rock and roll beds, U-shaped beds. There's even California beds as well here. And some of the vans are going to be insulated, and some of them won't be. There is so much variety for the same kind of money. And in amongst these, there are vans I would happily buy. Some aren't bad, but actually there's far better options available for the same money. And some I just wouldn't buy but I'm not going to tell you which. So going up a higher price level, there's even budget vans with bigger mileage, older, and yet they're more expensive. It is just bonkers. It is so varied. And that's why buyers need to look carefully. Have a look, listen to what the salesperson says, and then take a step back. Leave, and then do lots of research. Take in what they've said. Look at the components that they've said, which are the best. Are they the best? If you're told somebody else is interested, so you need to make a quick decision, don't be pressured. Carefully do your research and make sure what you're being told is factually correct. If you were drawn in by the flash exterior over another van, then just remember, the exterior styling is easily changed. There is a big market out there for camper vans that aren't slammed to the floor with big wheels and body kits. So not all manufacturers add these. The manufacturer has concentrated on the campervan aspect of, well, actually the campervan rather than the exterior detail. Funny that. And just for the record, I personally really do like the exterior styling. Some don't. I personally do really like this van. And if it had DSG, I would be really interested in it. Now, one campervan that I've seen amongst the Autotrader adverts has really caught my eye. And I'm going to actually contact the seller to see if I can make a video about it. Anyway, if that van was my van, then the styling would be the first thing that I would change. So hopefully they will agree to be making a video, and then I can actually explain my thoughts about it. Because that van has a lot of spec. It's a bit of a unicorn really, and also very difficult to put a price on. A bit like the petrol vans. These are also rare, and I did see a petrol van amongst the search I was doing as well. Anyway, back to that buyer. He went on to say that as a professional, somebody who understands, somebody who knows what they're looking for, can see how people can easily fall into these traps. The sales patter from some converters is really good, but can be just that, sales patter. So pretty much exactly what I've been saying. It's almost as though I actually know what I'm talking about. You know, my passion has been restored after that minor blip. We need to educate and help people make more informed choices, understand the differences, what to look out for, which components are available, the different bed systems, the pup tops, why safety testing is so important, the options of electrical components, battery technologies. You know, we will speak to industry professionals and find out why they pay big money to do things that many other people don't, and then why they think it's as important as it is. Buying a camper van isn't easy. If you want to be prepared, make sure that you're subscribed and watch the introduction video for the new series which we've got here, as we are building a camper van together and you are making all the choices. Take care, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon.